Welcome back to World of Tanks with Tomahawk. Today we have the Kranvagn at tier 10 Swedish tank, and you see here the gun depression is epic. And if you just put this in a horizontal line, so just imagine this gun is pointing straight at you, and you see that turret, you are never ever going to penetrate it. And this is exactly what this tank is very much capable of. And don't get me wrong, but I think this is kind of a one-trick pony. If you have a very flat map, this might actually get into trouble. However, this is not a very flat map, and we're gonna put this thing to use. And normally we just poke the corner here and try to shoot people, but I was thinking, hey, why not get a different angle and roll up the hill instead. And here we see our first victim here, and I immediately put a shell in, whereas I pull off a couple of bounces here. Sadly the second one missed, third one missed as well, and the fourth one eventually capitalized, I think. But I'm reloading, and I just checked where this enemy Kranvagn bounced on me, and this is right under the gun. And this turret is a very tough nut to crack. So the enemy team is quite aggressive with a lot of heavy tanks, T-125, IS-7, another T-125, Kranvagn, and 113. And here the IS-7 is. Sadly it bounced the last two shells, and especially the last one was a pretty bad shot from my side. But hey, you can't have it all. I have backup from this Type 4 Heavy, as well as the Panzer E100, T57 Heavy, and a TVP 5100, sorry, 5051, and a Butsup 25T. Just waiting for the reload and can see if I do some more. There is a T125 with his 8 degrees of gun depression, so he's also trying to do something. Tried to pull shots on that other one, but there's a Kranvagn right in front of me, and I don't really want to mess around with that one. So I'm trying to get the rock between me and the enemy Kranvagn, and hopefully I can actually put some fire on the guys on my right here. So I am between the rock here. There is T125 coming up, perfectly aimed, perfectly angles the bad side of his turret to me, and I penetrate him 3 times. I have 1 shell left, but I decided to go for the reload because you don't want to kind of be left with this lonely shell. So TVP decides to leave us. T57 Heavy is also reloading, and the Type 5 is still standing there. And the Butsup has decided to, still leave us, so that's a bad feat. Type 4 is getting hits, and I'm not really in a good position here, and I should really do something. Track the T125, penetrate the following 2 shots, and he's down, and bounce the last shell on the turret of the other T125. Have to pull back again as this Type 5 keeps pushing, but also keeps losing hit points. And look at me, right in front of me there is another ridge where I can hide behind, so let's get there and let's use some more ridges. Pull off a bounce from a Kranvagn from the back. I don't know where he hit me, but I'll take it any day. I have still the backup. The T57 Heavy is also using the ridge here, and the Stridswagen 103B. And here you see I pull to the right, so that everyone who is pulling in towards our base, I can just have easy flank shots at. They don't have to be spotted anymore. So here, this 113 who's rolling down, I can easily start shooting down on him. Too bad my shell flies too much to the right. Lose viable seconds here, and actually cannot put the second shell in, but luckily I have my 103 buddy who takes him out. There's still 3 tanks down here. IS-7, Kranvagn, and T125, so I need to be careful. I only have 3 shells, and I cannot kill them all with this 1 shell. This shell is bullshit, and so is this shell. So 2 shells wasted, and I need to reload again. This gun sometimes suffers from a bit of a derpy handling, to be honest, so oh hey, you gotta deal with it. There needs to be also some disadvantages about this tank, right? I mean, so far it has been treating me very well. I haven't lost a single hit point, and I think I've already been doing like 3000 damage, so I cannot complain. And by the end of the game, I think I might have blocked 3000 damage or so. Take a hit, but he only takes up my track. No, I actually take also a damaging hit, so that's not so good. And this is my favorite shot of the whole replay. I see the slightest of sides of the T-125, pull my gun down, and I hit him in the side, and he gets down, and he just only takes up my optics. So I don't really care. And now my butt-shot buddy is back, so hopefully we can wrap up this Kranvagn as well as the IS-7 here. Butt-shot takes a hit, however, so I need to support, and I have 3 shells left. And here's what I mean with the derpy gun handling. I should have gone in, taken out the IS, and instead I take a damaging hit. And I miss 1 shell, so it's kind of a bad news situation. Kranvagn still on 69%. Taken down to 50. Last shell left. Butt-shot takes another hit, only back on 7%. Not good. Hopefully we can make the best of the situation. But there again, we have Mara 470 in his SWEDISH 103B, who takes out the IS-7. So now it's me and the butt-shot versus the Kranvagn. And we want to do this by losing as few hit points as we possibly can. I have 1 item left, he has 2 items left. It's good to communicate here. Internationally speaking, it's Russians and EU versus each other. And I don't speak Russian, so we need to use these standard controls, and it's nice that Wargaming put those in. Still reloading. And I'm actually just waiting for the Kranvagn to bite the butt-shot, and I think he might pull around the corner. However, he surprised me. It suddenly pops up on the right, whereas he only takes off my track and I bounce off his track. And I still have 3 shells left. However, I only have 4 APCR shells, so if this clip is empty, I have literally 1 shell in my next clip, which is not very recommendable. So here, this is what I meant at the beginning of the replay. I need to switch back to my heat shells, which have higher penetration, of course. It's I think 300 penetration versus 250 on the APCR shells. The problem is, if you see the tanks that are left, it's a SWEDISH 103, a Kranvagn, and a SWEDISH 103-0. The 103B has a heat shield in front of it, so my shells will be useless if he's pointing his gun towards me. Whereas the Kranvagn is pretty much tracks and a turret on top of it. So if I hit the tracks, the shells will be absorbed. The turret is so darn big, but also so heavily armored that I'm also likely to bounce here. So here, after kicking so much butt so far, I was really sad I needed to switch to my heat shells. Anyway, back to the battle. We have a Death Star who's pulling back. We have the Kranvagn as 103B here and the 103-0 in the back, and we actually think they're base defending. However, we can't seem to find them. Still checking if we can get a shot off. Maybe the butt-shot or the SWEDISH can actually spot something for us, but no such thing. So I need to relocate, and hopefully I can spot something, since I still have the most hit points of these guys I'm directly cooperating with, and I need to show that I also have some balls. So let's find another hill, pull that gun down, so only display the turret to the enemy, and hopefully pull off some bounces. I really wonder how this tank fares on Himmelsdorf without being on the hill, for instance, because then you also have the hull armor. And that's not so much good news as the turret is. However, with this 12 degrees you can misuse any type of deformation in the terrain, whether it be a pile of rubble or a hill. Anywho, we're still trying to make a spot here, where I once again magnetize myself towards a hill. But no cigar. No one here. I still have the 103, also the Death Star is now here, but the 103 takes out the butt-shot, and the 103 is all the way over there, and we start to being captured, which is not so good news here. The question is, what should we have done? There is now a decision to be made. We have 3 tanks over here, in close vicinity to the cap. Should we start capping or not? We don't know which tank is all the way up there. Might be the Kranvagn, might be the 103-0. But I decide to go back and defend. Retrospectively, not sure if that's the best decision to be made. But the Death Star decides to capture, as well as the SWEDISH 103B of our team decides to pull round and also start to go on a defending streak. But you see, we're gonna lose if the current capture is gonna run exactly as it does. So I'm cutting it short, pulling myself towards the base as quick as I can. The 103 is now in my line of sight, or actually my view range, but not in my line of sight, so I cannot hit him. So I need to push on to the tank that's capturing currently. And I only have 33 seconds left, so I pull a bit to the right, so I'm pretty much in open ground as when I catch this guy, and I can use my gun depression, auto aim, do damage, auto aim again, and I bounce. And this is what I mean, from this angle you don't have much to shoot at, because it's all very much angled. And the other side, it just tracks, and the heat shells are just gonna bounce off of it. So I actually reset, which is nice, but the Stridswagen, because I cut it short, completely drove all the way over the other flank without catching my side. So now this sneaky guy moved out, and the Death Star succumbed now to the 103B. Whereas I'm still reloading, take 2 hits from the Kranvagn, and here is the 103-0. Bad miss. And this shell doesn't even go where the guy was before, so I have 2 shells left against 3 tanks. This is likely not gonna end very well, and I'm just gonna have to deal with it. And I'm just gonna pump in my last 2 shells and hopefully do some more damage. Kranvagn inbound. I pull back. He also doesn't want to lose his hit points. Averagely, I could still take 1 hit from him, 400 standard damage. I was like, okay, reverse psychology, move forward instead of backwards, because that's the last thing he saw. And hopefully now I can actually get behind him, at least that's the thought. However, he's probably backed by his 103-0 buddy. And there he is, exactly as I hoped. And because I suck, I actually used my last shell on auto aim and hit him in the side, where it just stupidly bounced and got taken out with a 103.